13th. Rise and shine, rise and shine. This is Coffee Talk. I'm Wesh 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. And let me tell you something. It is stunning outside. A live look, checking out things, and it is beautiful here in Tavares. That's a live look at our tower cam network out that direction. Skies are clear. It is fantastic. Let's take you over to the beach, New Smyrna Beach, see what's doing. There are people out and about. They're enjoying their morning. They're taking the walk. Let's head over to Sanford, see what's doing. This is our Venue 520 tower cam shot. It is so pretty outside, isn't it? Downtown Orlando, look at that. Skies are clear. Yeah, this is the good stuff. Y'all, we've made it to the weekend. I just get my protein shake out. I was running a few seconds late, so I didn't do it before coffee talk. Don't judge me, okay? Come on. Oh, I'm making a mess. This is why, Dennis Phillips can take his live broadcast and put it on TV. Coffee talk is not ready for prime time. Okay. I've made a mess with ice cubes everywhere. Volt can't take me anywhere. All right. First warning live Doppler radar. Nice and quiet after a sabbatical. Our live radar was down for a little over 24 hours. Come on, you punk. Okay. Our live radar was down for like 24 hours. What, like a day or two after the National Weather Service radar got struck by lightning, our radar got struck by lightning. But our amazing engineers climbed that tower. You have to climb like a ladder. Climbed the tower many times to move parts up and down. They got it all working, and look at that. We are scanning and happy to report a nice clean sweep. Temperatures out the door sitting in the upper 70s, lower 80s, and the forecast into this afternoon brings up the readings. The big story today is going to be the heat. Notice those impact icons. That's not for storms, that's for the heat. 92 degrees, our 1 o'clock temperature. That's our normal high temperature this time of year. And we're going to just keep going and keep going from there. We're headed to 96 degrees and only a limited 30% coverage of passing showers and storms. Here's the high temperature map around town. And there you go. 96 in Orlando, 96 in Claremont, 93 in Palm Coast, 93 degrees in Palm Bay. But the big heat is the big story, right? We've got this massive area of high pressure building in. And so what it ends up doing is not just heating us up today, but the next couple of days. Look at tomorrow, 97 degrees, our high temperature. The record is 99. So we're going to be in the ballpark, not just tomorrow for records, but into Monday. Today, I don't suspect, I mean, if we hit 100 today, it'll be a bad day. Thankfully, I don't see that happening. But tomorrow into Monday, we'll just be at least a little bit closer, we'll say. All right. All right. So let's talk a little bit about those temperatures first and foremost. Okay. We had mentioned the high temperature forecast for us today. We had already discussed that. Let's do this though. Let's look at the forecast temperatures, not just for today, but also for tomorrow, right? Because tomorrow's even hotter. Here's a look at our Sunday high temperatures. If we hit 96 in Orlando today, look at tomorrow's readings. 97 in the city, 97 in Claremont, 97 in DeLand, right? And the feels like temperatures put us in a situation where you got to take it easy. I tell this story I know here on Coffee Talk, we talk about this often anytime we have big heats situations. And I'm going to do it again today. Billy Stanley, friend from Lake Worth down in South Florida, passed away a few years back because of heat stroke, heat exhaustion. Dude's a mechanic, just working on cars, went up to McDonald's, grabbed a bite to eat, was eating it in his car, and was found expired hours later. He was already in the air conditioning of his car. So, and he was a Florida native, or at least had been there for a long while. And I only say this to point out that heat can get any one of us. And this is not hype. This is genuine concern, okay? Here's your feels like temperatures. Notice 107, 109. We're at the very top of that extreme caution zone today. We get awful close to the danger zone. I know, make fun of the song, but from your friendly top 5 favorite meteorologist, I don't know. I'm not going to assume because you know what they say, but I digress. take it easy, okay? Just please try to take it easy. There are heat advisories posted across Central Florida for today. Heat risk, this is a model product that the National Weather Service puts out. And basically, the idea, notice most of the inland spots are red. There's even some purples. The definition for heat risk, the red is something that impacts anyone without effective cooling. The purple impacts anyone without effective cooling or hydration. So, we're into the major to extreme heat risk for today. Even for tomorrow, that heat risk, watch how those purples start to spread. There's more of a heat risk for tomorrow because those temperatures are climbing, right? So here's the 7-day forecast just to put it all together. And you can see big heat today, big heat tomorrow, big heat on Monday. Late day storms on Monday are going to help, but it's still big heat. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there's a complete pattern shift. And this is kind of an interesting little pattern shift, okay? Let's just look at the overall surface pattern, okay? So on the right side of your screen, you've got high pressure building in. I'll take your comments in a minute. I'm just on a roll. Forgive me. On the right side of the screen, you've got high pressure building in. That's the big heat bubble that we're experiencing. On the top, around Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, that's the remnants of Invest 93. Now it's completely fading. I'm not talking about it doing much. But notice into Sunday, that moisture, that energy kind of gets picked up by a front. And then Monday into Tuesday, where does that front take that energy? But back here in Central Florida. So it's not that Invest 93 is returning, but rather that the energy source, sounding like that energy source starts to return to our area. Okay. So let's just know that the rain chances are going to be rising. When we look at the forecast here for next week, the rain chances go up enough that we actually have to talk about a flooding threat. So it's not something that happens, normally, where you get this kind of moisture to go up and around a ridge of high pressure, but it's happening. It's not crazy. It's just what it is. So from a 30% coverage of rain today to a 40% coverage of rain tomorrow, up to a 70% coverage by Tuesday. And I had mentioned that flooding concern, right? Here's the Weather Prediction Center's level 1 out of 4 risk for flooding over the course of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm sure it'll probably be there on Thursday. And we may need to tweak this as more models start lining into things. But it's definitely something that we should be watching. Okay. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. All right. Let me pop up the 7-day forecast and then we can chat about it. And then we can move on and talk a little bit about the tropics. All right. Yukon's asking, what's the difference between it being Invest 93 and its energy source? Invest 93 is falling apart. It's just the remnant energy from it, if you will. Okay. It's no longer a tropical wave. It's gotten absorbed and all that. But you can broadly tie it back to Invest 93, if that makes sense. That's a good question. Yeah. Janice says, have a good day going to the grocery store before it gets too hot. That sounds like a plan. Enjoy yourself. Taylor says, if I see pets or kids alone in a car with the car off, you're getting a busted window. Yeah, I've called the police before on those situations. I've done that. Yeah. I didn't bust the window myself, but I definitely stood there asking if the cops could get there quickly. And they were like, we can be here within 3 minutes. And I was like, all right. Otherwise, I would have probably found this. I don't know. That's a good question, though. Okay, when we talk about and you mentioned the hot car, but let's talk about how quickly and we've had this graphic for years, and it's gonna every summer it will get its workout. You need my microphone? All right. Here, I'll put this full screen. Every year it's gonna get a workout, okay? But if the air temperature today is 95, it takes 10 minutes for the car to get to be 114 and 30 minutes for the car to be 129. So that's a good question. If you're in a parking lot and you see this, what do you do? Because I don't know that in that situation, it was it wasn't as hot. I mean, it was like 80. So, and it was 80 degrees out. But that does bring up a really good question. What would you do? Would you take it amongst yourself to bust a window out? That's a good. I feel like destruction of property would be. I don't know. I would be afraid of. And if there's any police officers or law enforcement officers in here, I'd be curious your thoughts. But that's a really good question. You know. Hmm. Interesting. Matt says always carry a center hole punch in the car to break a window, even if it's your own window, get into an accident or drive into a pond. Mechanical spring loaded automatic window breaker. I don't have one of those, but that's probably not a bad idea, Matt. Um, Sonia on YouTube says, I'm breaking a window and calling the cops. When I did it, I called the police and they handled everything because I was afraid and I was sure that they would do it very quickly. But that's a really good question. That's a really good point to make. You know, um, Barb, would we get prosecuted for doing so? See, that's the thing. I don't have the answer for that. Right? Yukon says record the situation and break the window. Man, I feel like I don't know. Golly, that's interesting. The police were called into my daughter's work yesterday for a left infant in car. Thankfully, they got there quickly and the baby was fine. Oh my God. I can't handle it. Patricia says, I saw a video where the baby was turning blue, 911 operator. Yeah. Well, look, if there was somebody in distress, I think I would be on the phone with 911 and say, I want to break it and then go from there. Oh, this is like opening up that part of my mind. That's like, it's an ick feeling. Terry says, I would bust out a window in a heartbeat. I wouldn't care about damage. Cell phone video is your friend. Yeah, that's true. I have one. Yeah, I feel like I would call, like in that moment of sitting here and thinking, I called the police. It wasn't as hot, but if it was this hot, like if it was 95 out, I feel like I would call the police and tell them I'm going to break the window or something like that. I feel like I would. Yeah. Taylor, so LEO said to call the cops first, but if there's clear signs of distress, you can break the window, but the animal child has to show signs of distress. Man, what I feel like maybe that's a news story. Like we talk about don't leave kids and pets, but we don't talk about what to do if you see it and the legalities of it. I think that's a really interesting story, you know? Oh, I agree. So Debbie says I would rather pay to replace a window than let a dog or child die in a car. 1000% agree with you. It's just the like thinking it through kind of thing, you know? Terry says we were in a restaurant parking lot, temps in the 90s, dog in car. We called 911. They were there in minutes. Yeah. I called the police and asked them what I should do while I'm waiting. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Nikki says, I think I'd have to break the window, even if police say 3 minutes. You don't know how long they've already been in there. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Err on life, not regret. You're right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure any judge or lawyer would understand. No, you're right. I locked my 2-year-old in the car seat and keys in the car years ago in October by accident. Fire department came and let her out. We had to wait 45 minutes. In the meantime, we tried breaking the window, but it wouldn't. Wow, that's terrifying. Wow. Golly, yeah. Mm, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Very interesting discussion. John says you want ick. Ooh, I don't know that I do. I read an article yesterday about a teen working. Oh boy. Oh boy. Nope. I'm not gonna finish reading that one. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. You see, I don't know about the Good Samaritan law, Stacy. This is a discussion though. This is a discussion to bring up. Bring in some law enforcement and it doesn't need to be long, but I think that there's a discussion there. I think that that's for sure. Matt says center hole punch will break any window. Everyone go to Harbor Freight and get one for you and anyone in your family. I think I'm going to have to do that. I think I'm going to have to do that. See, and then there's Rick who shows up with the Florida State statute 768.139. Rescue a vulnerable person or domestic animal from a motor vehicle. Immunity from civil liability says it's permissible. And then Brian shows Brian, former law enforcement, 768.139 allows for that. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Rick. Thank you all. All right, so a center hole punch is what we've learned, we need to pick up. So, I would say as we travel around on these hot days, let's always kind of Look, you don't want to be the creeper that's like looking into a car, but always be on the lookout for someone in distress in a car, child or pet. And for God's sake, whatever we need to do to protect our children, protect our pets. Okay. Christine says not acting is so much worse. It's true. I would absolutely act. And in my one situation where I had to, it wasn't boiling hot. It seemed like everything was fine, but I didn't want to do anything. But point taken. Yeah, I mean, if it's distress, I feel like I would call and tell them I'm going to break the window. I can't, that. I'm glad that we found the statute though. That makes me feel better about life. Okay. Yukon says a hammer will work just fine if you have a hammer, right? But yeah, that center hole punch. All right. So there's that. All right. Do we have any other questions about our local? It's hot. That much we've established. Any other questions, comments, concerns about things? John, seriously, is there a way we can buy, let's say, a center hole punch and test it somehow so we feel better that it will work? I don't know. YouTube center hole punch? I don't know. You know? Yeah, I don't know. In a pinch, and if you have it, a spark plug will break automotive glass, specifically the side or rear windows that are not laminated. I would go on to say, Charles, while you may be a gentleman of the motor mentality and can, I don't exactly have a spark plug hanging around, but somebody like you who it's just a part of your normal working process, I would say that makes sense. Yeah. The center hole punch would be a great segment on getting out of a car. That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. They sell a tool to break a window and cut a seatbelt. It's easy to use. Yeah, I feel, Keith says go to a salvage yard and test it. That sounds really interesting. I feel like this is an interesting story. Rage Room would let you test it. I feel like this is an interesting story. Thank you all. I appreciate you. Yukon. Well, Eric Burris, meteorologist, your car does not have spark plugs. It does not. The airplane does, but I digress. Okay. Jeff says spark plugs are a great idea. I have older ones in the shop. Not going to use them anyway. See, there you go. All right. Tropics. Let's talk a little bit about the tropics because there is something to monitor way out in the middle of nowhere. All right. Here's a look at the satellite imagery. You can tell we're starting to get into hurricane season when we start to see things to monitor in the central Atlantic. Right where it says forecast high 95, way out in the middle of nowhere, there is an element there to watch. It has a low end chance of forming. National Hurricane Center gives it a 10% chance of development over the next 2 days' time, a 20% chance of development over the next 5 days' time. It's not doing much way out there. Okay, there it is on the satellite presentation. It's the first area of interest for realsies out in the open Atlantic. And while it's not expected to do much, I do want to point out that it's at least letting us know that in the absence of Saharan dust, the Jeff Goldblum, like, life will find a way thing. All right. This is the European ensemble plot, odds for tropical depression development. And you can see on the bottom right corner, the European ensembles do say we should get a tropical depression to form here. But I want you to look a little further in time. Let's just take this through time. Watch around Florida. You see this here? What's going on here? I had already mentioned kind of that opportunity for Invest 93's remnant energy to pop up, but there is the European model ensemble plots saying there may be development off of the east or west coast of Florida. So once again, there may be something to watch this week, just like last week. So let's look at some of the computer models. This is the raw. We'll start with the GFS just to play devil's advocate, for lack of a better term. Okay. High pressure. That's that warm orange color there building in. No surprise, right? Let's take it through time. That's that big bubble of high pressure, that big bubble of heat. There's Monday, Tuesday, that low kind of starting around and then into the Gulf. Look at it doing its thing. Working over maybe to Texas. You notice on the right side there may even be something out in the open Atlantic to track. But either way, thankfully nothing significant. Persistent area of low pressure though. And then maybe something else around the Gulf Coast. Couple of, the GFS is trying to show a couple little things. Couple little things here or there. Nothing crazy. All right, let's look at the European. Stand by. European. All right. There comes that low pressure into the Gulf. Not doing a ton. The Euro, though, is saying it looks like it wants to try to develop. You see that there? And then into Texas. Okie doke. And then persistent low pressure east of us. Yeah. So nothing crazy, but the models are doing their thing. So, okay. Something to watch. It does fit our long range weather pattern. So notice while we do have that near record heat today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the rain chances start to rise and we definitely get into that tropicalist pattern. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, we're probably going to be watching the tropics nearby. Hurricane Center has not highlighted anything, but it's definitely something to watch. All right. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Yeah. Anything? Anything at all? This is for. I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe that's why. All right. We still haven't reached the Dexter name yet. Jeannie Rowan's asking. No, we have not yet. When we look at the storm names for this year, have to make sure I get the right version of this because I'm working on another version. Yeah, Dexter is the next name on the list. We do not have Dexter yet. That's why you're never going to hear me say something like soon to be Dexter or this is going to be Dexter or watching Dexter's formation because you don't know if it's going to do it. There's some parts of the weather machine I just don't like. When people name a system before it's named, it's like, don't do that. Don't do that. So yeah, Dexter's the next name on the list. Imelda is the I name this year. Woof. Hopefully, we don't have to toil with an I named storm this year. Imelda. Cool. Love that. Taylor says it's just too hot. That's my comment. Yeah, I get you. I get you. I have an A in my chemistry class. There you go. Mazel tov. Love it. Robin says no hype. Yeah. 2025 summer in a nutshell. 4 days of easy bake oven, 4 days of tropical weather. Rinse and repeat. Kind of true, right? Yeah, kind of true. Yeah. Does meteorology term of blankety blank blank apply? Mike, while I will not independently verify that, I will say that that's not that's not the fakest weather term I've ever heard. How's that? Will Imelda bring a lot of shoes? Is there a reference there? Tad and Yukon are mentioning it. Nikki's mentioning it. Okay. Oh, Imelda. Is that shoe? But is that from Coco? I love Coco, but I don't remember shoes. I'm going to come with free shoes. What? Manolfi's calling. Hold on a second. I'm putting him on speakerphone. Manolfi, you're on speakerphone on Coffee Talk.
Oh, well, howdy doody.
How you doing, Bada Bing?
Didn't mean to interrupt that.
You're okay.
Stella says hi to everybody, by the way.
Oh.
We're doing our morning walk.
Good morning, Stella.
Yeah, she's a squirrel. She's crouching down like she wants to attack. So we may get a little loud and vicious here. Come on.
Let's not do that. Your Stella is much louder than my Stella.
Oh, my Stella, look out, man. I'm telling you what. So what's going on there in the tropics now with that little feature there in the central/eastern Atlantic this morning?
It's a 10%, 2 days, 20%, 7 days. Doesn't look much like it's going to want to do something, but as I was just saying on Coffee Talk, like it's definitely a notice that when you don't have wind shear and when you don't have Saharan dust, Mother Nature's wanting to get going out there.
The water temperatures have really come up over the last couple of weeks
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Hurricane season's going to kick up in the not so distant future.
Yeah, and what's the your own GFS doing with Southeast next week?
It's wanting to loop it around. It's wanting to 93 us all over again still.
What crazy thing.
Isn't it something? And what's even crazier is my long range forecast had two things very close together in the Northern Gulf. And at the time when I put it together, I was like, nah, nah. And then here it's doing its thing. It's like, okay, got it.
I'll get back to you, Bubba. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. We'll see you, buddy.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye. All right. So there you go. There's the Manolfi. The day he and I have daily check-ins. They were a family of shoemakers in Cocoa. You're right. I give okay, got it. Got it. Amy, did I ignore you, Amy? I don't think I've ignored you. I have not ignored you on purpose. Apologies. Oh my gosh, absolutely I'd be proud. Barb, that's amazing. Congratulations. That's so amazing. All right. Y'all have any questions, comments, concerns before we get our Saturday started? We've got near record heat this weekend. Then we've got a whole lot of rain next weekend. That wild. It's something else. Yeah, something else. All right. Colleen says maybe there's one like that. I was get zombies and toxic. What? Oh, you Vault on the Rawson report. Um, Yes, Neon's channel. Yeah, the plane got nobody asked, but no, got all of the inspection things taken care of, so that's fine. The next big thing is in September is the annual inspection. That's going to be the big one where it goes down for maintenance for a little while and gets heavily looked at. So there you go. All right. Debbie, I'm not. Why is everybody saying I'm ignoring them? I'm doing the best I can. You know, you're not. Y'all know you're not the only one in the room. Like for people to think I'm ignoring you, I'm not doing it on purpose. There's a lot of comments, and I apologize. I'm not ignoring anybody. You know how you can tell if I ignore you? If I block you. If you're blocked, it's because I don't want to hear from you. If you said inappropriate things. Other than that, I have no reason to ignore anybody. You know? You're ignoring Debbie talking about the coastal forecast. I'm not ignoring her. I was talking about Alfie. I was talking about something else. Even my undiagnosed ADHD brain can still stay a little on topic. Now we can go to the coastal forecast. It's all about flow, people. You gotta, getting so mad. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. Man, there's your coastal forecast. Not as hot, but still gonna have plenty of storms for next week. Exactly, Taylor. Even I can ignore a squirrel every now and then. You know? You're not ignoring me. You're just not doing a lot of comments on the comments. Thank that. That. Sometimes I'm just talking and I don't even have that window up on the screen. Matt, I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about, Matt. I don't know what you're talking about. Didi Road says, please don't block. I'm not going to block you, but you know what I mean. Look, if you're inappropriate, I'm going to block you. And that's how you know I'm going to ignore you. Sonia says, I asked about coastal and Amy asked about dust. So I missed it. Okay, so there's the coastal. Talking about dust. Stand by, I'll dial it up. See, while I'm doing this, I'm not seeing other comments. So if anybody's going to be getting mad, I apologize. All right, so here's the Saharan dust as it is right now. Okay, so we've got dust in the Caribbean, but not a ton by us, and frankly, not a ton in the open Atlantic, although there's a whole new wave of dust that's kind of crossing the Atlantic. And that's going to be partially why that area there doesn't have the opportunity to really develop that we're watching. All right. How have you not blocked me and your brother yet if you block people that are inappropriate? There's inappropriate and there's blocking inappropriate. Okay. Carlos, how are they coming along? I don't know what you're talking about. They're fine. I would say I'll have an update on that at some point in the not so distant future. I wonder who had better ratings, you or 6U were up against. What? I'm oh, got it. Oh yeah, she's a lot prettier. I get it. I get it. I don't even look at those. I don't care about those, honestly. My job, I do my job. I do it the best I can. Ratings are for somebody else to deal with, not me. I'm just here to talk about the weather. Is there a sea salinity map product that has me fascinated since earlier this year in the tropics? I don't have anything. I mean, I'm sure that there is. I don't have anything like at the ready, but that's one of the things that when I was talking with the folks at the National Hurricane Center and over at the NOAA Aviation Unit, that I was really surprised to learn about was the salinity and how they're measuring salinity. Barca Edits on YouTube is asking any impacts for Florida the rest of the month from the tropics. you notice that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on the 7-day forecast, that's the rising rain chance from the tropics, from tropical moisture. So yeah, I would say that there's going to be a thing to watch. Nothing significant for now. Hopefully it stays that way. Yeah. All right. Is that all you got? We good? Very good. All right. Speaking of which, I've got some graphics to work on. All right. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you all for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you tomorrow morning at 8. Yeah, probably. I might have something. We'll figure it out. All right. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Take care, y'all. Bye.